Sometimes you can stumble on these articles and it's full of nonsense. It's full of, I got a mango and I pushed the mango into my face. And as the liquid, rolled down my mouth, I drank it and that's how I lost weight. Time of the Bald A-hole here with Gerald the fitness mascot. He does tricks, which makes him better than all of us. Just bow down to him. He is your penguin emperor. If you get it, you get it. If you don't worry about it. And how crazy is this? Ethan Suplee, Suplex, Flammex, I have no idea how you pronounce his last name, but you may recognize him from such films as American History X. I think he was in Remember the Titans, Malrats, all those kind of stuff. Boy Meets World, that's how I know him because I'm really old secretly, don't tell anybody. But flippin' hell, this is just the most incredible story of weight loss you've ever heard in his life, and it has like some real nice morals to it as well that hopefully can help you. Now we'll start off by looking at some pictures, some before and afterwards, and as you can see, the transformation is so dramatic. I'm pretty sure I could tell you that was a different person, and you'd absolutely, you'd believe me. You'd be like, of course it was. You wouldn't even think they were brothers. But this is the amount of work and this is the amount of effort that he's put in. And it's so nuts that when he decided he was going to do this, he had to go to a doctor's office, he had to get himself weighed, but he wasn't able to do it on the scales they had there. He had to be weighed on industrial scales, and even then he maxed them out. So even though he said he was 530 pounds, it was 530 pounds plus, which means it just got to the total amount of numbers it could throw at you, and it did shrug emoji. It must have looked up and gone, I don't know what was wrong for me. And then incredibly, if you ask him how much he weighs now, it is 260 pounds. So he has essentially lost 300 pounds in weight, especially because as he goes on in certain videos that I've seen, it wasn't just I went from 500 to 200. I went from this to that. I went up, I went down, I went left, I went right. It was a struggle. It was a challenge, but he stuck to his goal. He stuck to his guns quite literally, and he got to where he needed to be. And there is no secret. This is the coolest thing. I'm going to show you a video in a second of him talking about his actual workout. I couldn't find one with his diet, but what I did find was interviews, and he talks about it nice and simply. What he did is he reduced 20% of his total calories, but then he also made sure that he manipulated the rest of his calories so the majority of said calories were coming from protein. And we've talked about it time and again. And he didn't get rid of carbs and he didn't get rid of fats. He just figured out, okay, where do I need to eat in order to start losing weight? And what do I need to eat in order to fuel that forward? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop eating the junk. I'm going to stop, kind of relying on food as a crutch, which we all do. And he said that too. He had this idea in his head. People were going to try and keep food from him. These are his words and not mine. So when he would go home after a night out, whatever the hell he was doing, he would go to like a fast food place and he ordered 3 meals and he'd just eat them. And what I'm guessing he was looking for was some kind of happiness, some kind of satisfaction, who knows what, right? But we've all done it, and it ties into the dopamine release in the brain. It gets so excited about eating nice food because it knows what it's going to do to it, that it shouts at you, eat it, eat it, eat it. And then you eat it, why did I eat it? Then you're rolling around on the floor. What's the food? What I think we can learn the most from all of this, aside from it being a great inspiration, is he had the best quote ever. Hopefully I'll be able to find it. He had the best quote ever. But he said he doesn't think that there is much fulfillment in losing the weight. It's not like you see the number go from 500 to 400 to 350 to 200 and be like, oh my gosh, I'm the greatest person ever. The fulfillment comes in setting small, realistic goals, and his goal wasn't even that realistic. It must have seemed crazy at the time, and achieving those goals. So he said in 2021, this is why he's been doing the PR rounds recently, he said he wanted to get abs, and right now he's 9% body fat. This was tested by people, and even if he's not 9%, he's max, what, 12%? That is absolutely obscene, all things considered. So now next year, or this year I suppose, he wants to get obliques, and that's where he finds his satisfaction, that's where he finds his motivation, by thinking to himself, well, what can I do next? And you may be doing that in your life, and it can be the weight loss thing. If you say, I want to go from 16 stone to 14.5 stone, that's great, but the reward that you get at the end of it will be that your brain goes, oh wow, you set your mind to this and you did it, and it will give you a round of applause and it will pat yourself on the back and it will do a little bit dance in front of you. That's just what happens. But it's not just going to be because you can do some maths and go out to people and go, oh, I did 15 minus 4 and that's 11. That's not even right, but it is. When it comes to training too, and I make sure there's some footage of him training right now because I was able to find that. I was very happy to hear he did push-pull legs. That is the routine that I will throw onto anybody that asks. And that's basically, I mean, you can modify it however you want, but it means on a Monday you do push. So most people would do chest, shoulders, and triceps. And then on Tuesday, you do pull. That's basically back and biceps. And then on Wednesday, you do legs. Thursday, you have a little bit of a rest and you do it again. And you just keep doing it over and over again because the best routine ever. It means you can train muscle groups twice a week. And that is important. And it puts a smile on your face. However, the other great thing about all of this, we can pretend that we don't do these things, but that would be an absolute lie. And ain't no liars coming into this house. Do you know what happens when you lie to Gerald the fitness mascot? Watch. Yeah, didn't like that, did you? That was flipping terrifying. But what really really kind of sort of switched his thinking about this is that he met a girl. He met a girl, and it wasn't that this girl didn't like him because he was overweight or fat or whatever you want to say. It was that he knew if he wanted to have a future with this girl, and he wanted to have kids, and he wanted to go for hikes, and he wanted to do all these little things that he was struggling to do at the time because he was carrying so much weight, he had to change his lifestyle. And he did. And sometimes you'll hear people saying, well, you shouldn't do things for other people. But he didn't. He did it for himself. And he did it for the longevity of his life. And again, put your hand up if you have never ever done anything out of spite. The hand goes down. That's a stereotype. I broke up with my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my partner, my fish. I don't know, you do you. I don't give a shit as long as you're happy. But I broke up with my fish, and I was so devastated that I couldn't see my fish anymore. And I saw my fish walking around with all these other fish. I decided I was going to get in the best shape a fish has ever got in their entire lives. And if it works, it works. But the cool thing is when you do get into a routine and you do get to where you want to go, you forgot about all the negative feelings that maybe powered you forward. And now you're just in a much better and a much more positive position. But I really do think, because sometimes you can stumble on these articles and it's full of nonsense. It's full of, I got a mango and I pushed the mango into my face. And as the liquid, rolled down my mouth, I drank it, and that's how I lost weight. And then you see people smacking mangoes into their head. You're like, man, what the hell are we going to do? He's not saying any of that. He kept things really, really simple. And now he even said he's not weighing his food. He doesn't have a specific diet. He likes being able to go out and eat with his family. He likes having the family meal when they're at home. But he just makes sure he's educated himself about what food is, what food does, what the general calorific intake of these foods is, so he can pick and change and choose depending on where he is and depending on what he's doing. And it can be as simple as that. If you sit down to have a cheeseburger and fries, as long as you know what's in that cheeseburger and fries, and you know it's going to be quite high in calories, and then you adjust it and switch out throughout the day, you're going to be fine. And of course, this isn't the case if you're going to enter a competition or you want to be 6.57% body fat. But we are talking about the everyday person that is trying to lose weight, trying to look big, trying to do all these cool things. You don't have to be super anal about it. If you want to be, hell yeah, man, I'm behind you. And I'll give you a high five next time I see you, socially distant. So, we'll just do it in the air and we'll go, and we'll make the whole noise. I think so many times in fitness, people like to pretend that it's a burden and it's a hardship. And sometimes it is. To get really shredded and to get in that kind of shape, it can be absolutely hard. And don't get me wrong, this journey was totally hard too. But when you're when you have that momentum and you're kind of smashing it every single day, as long as it's going okay and it's working for you, do not worry about all these other people shouting at you, telling you may need to do it a different way. He did it using the simplest things ever, and I tell you, I'm massively impressed. And I always liked him because, again, he was in Boy Meets World, and his dad was Vader within the storyline. So yeah, Ethan Suplee, I don't know how to say his name. I should. Genuinely, absolutely incredible, so inspirational. And if you've got any of your own kind of stories, share them with me, man. Drop them in the comments. Give me a DM on Instagram or something. Let's talk about it on the channel. Let's share each other's weight loss stories. Or maybe you went from being a skinny chap to a big chap, or a skinny girl to a big girl, whatever. Let me know. I love it. It makes me feel good. Also, if you could like the video, share the video, subscribe, that would be great. Hit the bell, ding, ding, notification crew, everything like that. What else do? We do Patreon, patreon.com/SimonMiller316. We do Instagram and Twitter at SimonMiller316. And we do merchandise, simon@bigcartel.com. And yes, the 316 is a reference to Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's a wrestler. I love wrestling. If I had known what my future held in store for me, would I have done that? No, but I'm an idiot. Also, not wearing any pants. I'll see you on the next one.